Hey, hey, hey! Happy Wednesday. Happy unplaniest day of the week. Hope y'all had a good night. I got some sleep. So I had a good night. Alright, March 9th. It's my dad's birthday. Happy birthday, Daddy-o! Like he's watching. Alright, March 9th. Laws concerning vows. Numbers 31 through 16. Then Moses summoned the leaders of the tribes of Israel and told them. That is not what he told them. This is what the Lord has commanded. A man who makes a vow to the Lord or makes a pledge under oath must never break it. He must do exactly what he said he would do. If a young woman makes a vow to the Lord or a pledge under oath while she is still living at her father's home, and her father hears a vow or a pledge and does not object to it, then all of her vows and pledges will stand. But if her father refuses to let her fulfill the vow or pledge on the day he hears it, then all of her vows and pledges will become invalid. The Lord will forgive her because her father would not let her fulfill them. Now suppose a young woman makes a vow or binds herself with an impulsive pledge and later marries. If her husband learns of her vow or pledge and does not object on the day he hears it, her vows or pledges will stand. But if her husband refuses to accept her vows or impulsive pledge on the day he hears it, he nullifies her commitments and the Lord will forgive her. If, however, a woman is a widow or is divorced, she must fulfill all of her vows and pledges. But suppose a woman is married and living in her husband's home when she makes a vow or binds herself with a pledge. If her husband hears of it and does not object to it, her vow or pledge will stand. But if her husband refuses to accept it on the day he hears it, her vow or pledge will be nullified, and the Lord will forgive her. So her husband may either confirm or nullify any vow or pledges she makes to deny herself. But if he does not object on the day he hears of it, then he is agreeing to all of her vows and pledges. If he waits more than a day and then tries to nullify a vow or pledge, he will be punished for her guilt. These are the regulations the Lord gave Moses concerning relationships between a man and his wife, and between a father and a young daughter who still lives at home. Conquest of the Midianites, Numbers 31, 1 through 24. Then the Lord said to Moses, on behalf of the people of Israel, take revenge on the Midianites for leading them into idolatry. After that, you will die and join your ancestors. So Moses said to the people, choose some men and arm them to fight the Lord's war of revenge against Midian. From each tribe of Israel, send 1,000 men into battle. So they chose 1,000 men from each tribe of Israel, a total of 12,000 men armed for battle. Then Moses sent them out, 1,000 men from each tribe, and Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the priest, led them into battle. They carried along the holy objectives of the sanctuary and the trumpets for sounding the charge. They attacked Midian as the Lord had commanded Moses, and they killed all the men. All 5 of the Midianite kings, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba, died in battle. They also killed Balaam, son of Beor, with a sword. Then the Israelite army captured the Midianite women and children and seized their cattle and flocks and all of their wealth and plunder. They burned all the towns and villages where the Midianites had lived, and they had gathered the plunder and captives, both people and animals. They brought them all to Moses and Eleazar the priest and to the whole community of Israel, which was camped on the plains of Moab beside the Jordan River, across from Jericho. Moses, Eleazar the priest, and the leaders of the community went to meet them outside the camp. But Moses was furious with all the generals and captains who had returned from the battle. Why have you let all the women live? He demanded. These are the very ones who followed Balaam's advice and caused the people of Israel to rebel against the Lord at Mount Peor. They are the ones who caused the plague to strike the Lord's people. So kill all the boys and women who have had intercourse with a man. Only the young girls who are virgins may live, and you may keep them for yourselves. And all of you who have killed anyone or touched a dead body must stay outside the camp for 7 days. You must purify yourselves and your captives on the 3rd and 7th day. Purify all of your clothing too, and everything made of leather, goat hair, or wood. Then Eleazar the priest said to the men who were in the battle, the Lord has given Moses this legal requirement. Anything made of gold, silver, bronze, iron, tin, or lead, that is, all metals that do not burn, must be passed through the fire in order to be made ceremonially pure. These metal objects then must be further purified with the water of purification. But everything that burns must be purified by water alone. On the 7th day you must wash your clothes and be purified. Then you may return to the camp. Division of the spoils, Numbers 31:25 through 54. And the Lord said to Moses, You and Eleazar the priest and the family leaders of each tribe are to make a list of the plunder taken in battle, including the people and animals. Then divide the plunder into 2 parts, and give half the men who fought the battle, and half to the rest of the people. From the army's portion, first give the Lord his share of the plunder, one of every 500 of the prisoners and cattle, donkeys, sheep, and goats. Give this share of the army's half to Eleazar, the priest, as an offering to the Lord. From the half that belongs to the people of Israel, take one of each of 50 prisoners, and the cattle, donkeys, sheep, goats, and other animals. Give this share to the Levites, who are in charge of maintaining the Lord's tabernacle. So Moses and Eleazar the priest did as the Lord had commanded Moses. The plunder remaining from everything the fighting men had taken totaled 675,000 sheep and goats, 72,000 cattle, 61,000 donkeys, 32,000 virgin girls. Half of the plunder was given to the fighting men. It totaled 337,500 sheep and goats, of which 675 were the Lord's share, 3,600 cattle, of which 72 were the Lord's share, 30,500 donkeys, of which 61 were the Lord's share, and 16,000 virgin girls, of 32 whom were the Lord's share. Moses gave all the Lord's share to Eleazar the priest, just as the Lord had directed him. Half of the plunder belonged to the people of Israel, and Moses separated it from half belonging to the fighting men. It totaled 337,500 sheep and goats, 36,000 cattle, 30,500 donkeys, and 16,000 virgin girls. From the half share given to the people, Moses took one of every 50 prisoners and animals and gave them to the Levites, who maintained the Lord's tabernacle. All this was done as the Lord had commanded Moses. Then all the generals and captains came to Moses and said, We, as your servants, have accounted for all the men who went out to battle under our command. Not one of us is missing. So we are presenting the items of gold we captured as an offering to the Lord from our share of the plunder: armbands, bracelets, rings, earrings, and necklaces. This will purify our lives before the Lord and make us right with him. So Moses and Eleazar the priest received the gold from all the military commanders, all kinds of jewelry and crafted objects. In all, the gold that generals and captains presented as a gift to the Lord weighed about 420 pounds. All the fighting men had taken some of the plunder for themselves. So Moses and Eleazar the priest accepted the gifts from the generals and captains, brought the gold to the tabernacle as a reminder to the Lord that the people of Israel belonged to him. That's a lot of gold. 450 pounds. I'd like to have 4 pounds of gold. I'd like to have 4 ounces. That's a lot of gold. All right, let's do Trim Healthy Mama, 100 Days of Inspiration. We are on day 68. Bassie, come here, buddy. Come sit down. Quit your wandering. Okay. A new habit. Every day, each one of us faces challenges. It's hard not to face them when raising a family. Each child has particular needs, quirks, and character that needs... I'm on yesterday's thing. That's yesterday's. I read that yesterday. And moving on to the correct day, day 68. Don't pay this debt. Don't you hate being in debt? There are always so many bills to pay, and you are scrounging from here and there to pay them. I've got some good news for you. There is one debt you don't have to pay. Oh yes, there is a great pressure on us to pay this debt, and many times we pay it unnecessarily. What is it? It is the debt to our flesh, our feelings and fleshly desires. Romans 8:12 says we are debtors, not to the flesh, to live after the flesh. In other words, we are not obligated to the flesh one tiny bit. You don't owe this bill. You do not have to give in to the anger. You do not have to give in to the bitterness and self-pity. You do not have to retort back to your husband. Instead, deny your feelings and flesh. This means to say no to it and yield to the Holy Spirit instead. The life of Jesus, who lives in you, is filled with love, patience, long-suffering, and joy. If only we could go through each day being reminded of this truth. What a difference it would make to the atmosphere of our home. What a difference it would make to our marriage, relationship, and to other children who are learning how God wants them to live. Nancy. I don't want that peanut butter, Matt. You're not getting peanut butter at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm sorry. Ow, I'm sorry. Are you a food Pharisee? Don't become a stickler for rules to the point where your joy is gone. The Pharisees did everything perfectly, yet they did not please God. They tickled. They ticked all the right boxes, but they didn't shine with the Spirit of God. Have your rules for health become so stringent that you are not fun to be around? Can you take a few days off exercise without feeling guilt or feeling like you have to double up next week? Are you keeping a food journal of every little morsel you eat and berating yourself if something looks less than perfect? Food journals can be helpful for some, but when they cause you to be more self-obsessed, they need to go. Are you carrying the light and liberty of health, or is it a drudgery and heaviness? We are not saying to be less proactive, but to continue your journey with a spirit of life and not death. Serene and Pearl. Friendship. I'm not here for the food. How many people can say that? Health nuts can say it unless they're at a health nut party, but most of the time the food at the party is a health nut's nice nightmare, which means the health nut isn't there for the food. This was a revelation to me. I remember back to several parties I attended, and the food was the main thing I was excited about. Not anymore. I love food, I love to cook, but now it's nowhere near as important to me as friendship. Our friends should know that we enjoy their company more than what they serve. Okay. There we go. Thank you for joining me this morning. I hope you all have a blessed day today. Oh my gosh. Excuse me, I need my coffee. I haven't had my coffee yet. Still working on my 16 ounces of water. Which I have to get down before my coffee. I'm almost there. So today is Wednesday, which means I am only live in my Flames group coaching group. So if you're not part of my group coaching, go watch an old video. Or just go make you breakfast by yourself. Boring. But no matter what you do, stay on plan. There's no reason to go off plan on Wednesday. Go make an omelet of wisdom, because that's what I'm going to make today over in group coaching. Light S today. So go have a light S breakfast and enjoy your time. And I will see you back tomorrow morning for more Joyful Daily Devotions. I love you all. Have a blessed day.